What if everything you believe about success was a carefully crafted lie to keep you trapped? From an early age, you were taught that working hard, following rules, and dreaming in moderation was the right path. But what if that path was just a trap? A script written for the few to master while the majority obeyed. Imagine discovering that the phrases that motivated you, the gurus who inspired you, and even the books that shaped you, hide a dark truth. Success isn't meant for everyone, only for those who dare to break the system. Today you'll hear what no one wants you to know, and after that, nothing will be the same. There was a man who believed that thoughts could turn into gold. His name was Napoleon Hill. For more than 20 years, Hill interviewed the most powerful men of his time, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, in search of a secret. Not just any secret, but the exact formula for success, something that could transform a common man into a living empire. But what almost no one knows is that Hill was warned by Carnegie of something much darker. If you discover this secret, the world will try to silence you. And maybe that's exactly what happened. Imagine a young man, poor with no connections, challenging the titans of industry. Hill believed that success was more than effort. He said that there was an invisible force, something that united thought, emotion, and faith, capable of attracting wealth. But the system we live in, he said, doesn't want you to find out about this. Because true success is not about following rules. It breaks them. From birth, we have been programmed to obey. Study, get good grades, get a job, work hard, retire and die in peace. But what if this were the perfect mechanism for a few to maintain power, while millions live hypnotized by the idea of doing the right thing? Hill believed that the human mind is a radio station capable of sending and receiving vibrations, and what you think, feel, and say creates your own magnetic field. Now think, how many times have you repeated phrases like, "Money is dirty," "Those who are born poor die poor," or "You can't have everything in life"? These words are not yours. They are schedules, invisible lines of code installed in your mind since childhood. You were not taught how to create wealth. It was taught to fear who owns it. Napoleon Hill observed something curious. The richest and most influential men possess something that the educational system never taught: mental self-control. They controlled emotion, directed thought, and most importantly, decided what to believe. And when you decide what to believe, control changes hands. Power ceases to belong to the system and becomes yours. But what does the system do when it realizes someone has woken up? Ridicule, censorship, island. How many people have you seen called crazy just for thinking differently? How many dreams have been destroyed because someone said, "That's impossible"? Hill faced the same. They called him a charlatan, a dreamer, a manipulator of words. But he knew the danger was at hand. Teach people to think for themselves. One of his biggest secrets was never published in his most famous books. He called it the law of hypnotic rhythm. According to him, the human mind can be taken over by a force that loves repetition. That's why people stay stuck in routines, relationships, and jobs they hate. Because the devil, as he called fear and doubt, feeds on distraction. Hill stated that the devil has no horns. He hides in your apologies, in the "I'll do it later," in the "not for me." But there is something even more disturbing. Hill revealed that the world's powerful understood the secret and reversed it. While he was trying to teach how to free the mind, they used the same laws to crowd control. They created a cycle of emotional dependence, media, politics, religion, and consumption, all whispering the same disguised message: you are still not enough. And so you keep chasing after something you already have: the power to create, the ability to transform thought into reality. So the big question is, who is programming your mind now? You or the system? Maybe success, as you've been told, is an illusion designed to keep you too busy to realize how powerful you are. Because an awakened human being is not manipulable. He is dangerous. Whatever the human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But what he didn't complete out loud was the warning, as long as no one is controlling it. The real secret is not wealth itself, but mastery over one's own thoughts. When you master your mind, the external world bends to your command. But when you lose control of it, someone out there has already decided your fate. Now, take a deep breath and look around. How many people do you know are actually living their lives, and how many are just repeating the script? This is the time to wake up, tearing up the success manual they taught you and rewriting yours. Because maybe, just maybe, the system's biggest trick was making you believe that you have no power at all. But the truth is different. You are the source. It all starts inside your mind. If you want to continue this journey and discover the secrets that Hill never revealed in public, subscribe to the channel now. The next episode will reveal the hidden step that turns thought into wealth and the price you pay for it. Don't say you weren't warned. But what he never said openly is that these seeds are energetic and that most people plant fear, not faith. He believed that thought is the most powerful matter in the universe because it is the first stage of any creation. Nothing, absolutely nothing exists before someone has imagined it. An empire, an airplane, a bank, $1 million idea. It all started in the mind of someone who refused to accept the ordinary. But what happens when you learn to control your own energy? According to Hill, something magical and dangerous. In one of his rarest stories, Hill told of an apprentice who came to him in desperation. The man was broke, in debt, and about to give up on life. Hill looked into his eyes and asked, "What do you want most in this world?" The man replied, "Money. I want to pay my debts and live in peace." Hill smiled and replied, "Wrong. You want freedom. Money is just the shadow of your true desire." He then taught something that was never published in his books, the method of mental transmutation of energy. According to Hill, the creative energy, the same that drives human instincts, can be converted into material power if directed with absolute focus. But this process required something almost impossible: total emotional control. Hill believed that the secret to success was to channel the life force, what he called sexual energy, and transform it into creative ideas. He said that the greatest geniuses in history did not suppress their desires, they redirected them. This energy, when not dissipated in impulses, transforms into a magnetic field of attraction. It is the moment when desire becomes the vibration of achievement. It's not witchcraft, it's the physics of the mind. Hill wrote in his diary, "Creative energy is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Whoever learns to transmute it becomes master of themselves and master of their circumstances." And that's how he started being watched. The power circles of the time did not want this idea to spread, because a man who masters his energy obeys no one. Think of your mind as a hidden mine. Within it, there are precious metals, ideas, visions, inspirations, but fear, guilt, and doubt are the stones that cover them. Hill said that the human mind is like raw gold. It needs to be polished with mental discipline and unwavering faith. While most work 8 hours a day for others, the true master works 24 hours a day inside your own mind. He shapes the invisible until the physical world bends to his vibration. And here is the truth that the system tries to hide. Success does not come from outside. He given. Hill observed that people live in two worlds, the real and the hypnotic. The real is that of creation, of inner power. The hypnotic is that of collective illusion, news, beliefs, imposed truths. And whoever controls the hypnotic world controls the masses. Hill's secret was to escape him. He said, "Most people think, but they are merely repeating other people's thoughts." Therefore, the most dangerous exercise he proposed was think for yourself. An independent mind is the most lethal weapon there is, and that's why the system fears it so much. The failed apprentice followed Hill's instructions for 30 days. Every day he wrote his goals on a piece of paper, visualized them with intense emotion, and affirmed, "My mind is the factory of my destiny." 30 days later, he landed a contract that multiplied his income tenfold. Coincidence? Hill said there is no such thing as coincidence, only compatible vibrations meeting at the right time. The mind, when focused, becomes a magnet that attracts everything that matches its frequency. And what you vibrate returns. Hill discovered that there are 3 levels of success: Opu material, which is money; O mental, which is the domain of thoughts; the spiritual, which is the fusion between the two. The system wants you to stop at the first one. It wants you to work, consume, and be entertained. But true awakening happens when you understand that money is just condensed energy, and whoever masters the energy masters the game. Before he died, Hill wrote a sentence that he never published. When man discovers that he is the creator of his own hell or paradise, he no longer needs masters, and that makes him very dangerous. Therefore, he was silenced, ridiculed, and forgotten for decades. But his ideas survived, and today they come back stronger than ever. Now, stop and reflect. How many negative thoughts have you entertained in the last 24 hours? Each of them is an energetic seed planted in invisible soil. Are you cultivating wealth or scarcity? Hill said that the mind is the true universal bank, and every emotion deposited there, an investment in your destiny. Most people harbor fear, doubt, and guilt. Few dare to invest faith, gratitude, and vision. If you've come this far, it's because something inside you is awakening, and perhaps this is the beginning of your transmutation. In the next episode, you will find out as Hill claims to converse with the invisible minds of geniuses and how he used it to get million-dollar ideas while he slept. Get ready, because what comes next will challenge everything you believe about thought, spirit, and money. Sign up now, activate the bell, and dive with me into the hidden side of success. The system wants you to stay asleep, but awakening starts here. Perfect, Sydney. Here is the cinematic and philosophical conclusion, with about 10,000 characters, built as the epic conclusion to the trilogy. What if everything you believe about success is a lie created to control you? It matches mystery, philosophy, spiritual metaphors, and psychological suspense, leading to a provocative morality and ending with impactful CTA and worthy of a high-engagement video in the Style Dark channel, Napoleon Hill. Hill used to say that the mind is the only territory that man really possesses, but what he never shouted in public, and perhaps whispered only to a few, is that this territory was invaded a long time ago. From the moment you were born, invisible forces have been vying for control of what you think, feel, and believe. And this is where the real battlefield is, inside your mind. You thought war was about money, power, or territory, but the war has always been for your attention, because whoever controls what you focus on controls your reality. Hill observed, already at the beginning of the 20th century, that humanity lived hypnotized by a theater of appearances. Success, as he said, had become a stage where few act and many watch. And while the crowd applauds, behind the scenes are manipulated by hands that no one sees. These hands are not interested in your failure, they are interested in your distraction. Because while you believe that one day it will work out, someone is profiting from your time, your fear, and your faith. We live in a society that sells dreams and delivers debts. It promises freedom, but delivers invisible chains. And he calls reality what is really just a script written by someone who understood Hill's secret and decided to use it. Backwards. Think, since school, you are trained to obey, to decorate, not to question, to fit in, not to express yourself, to compete, never to create. And when you reach adulthood, the system offers you a career, a salary, a retirement plan, enough to keep you alive but never awake. You become a piece, a number, a spectator of one's own existence. Hill called this hypnotic rhythm, the modern devil's dance, that invisible force that makes you repeat the same patterns every day, believing it's your choice. But it isn't. It's programming. And what's scarier, you reinforce this prison every time you think, I can't. I'm not capable. I don't deserve it. These words are not yours. These are installed codes, lines of thought inherited from generations who never dared to question them. Hill stated that the first step towards freedom is the most painful. Realize that you were never free, that their opinions were shaped, their desires were induced, and even their truths were sold. But there is an instant, rare, powerful, when something inside you awakens. It is the moment when the silence of the mind is broken and a voice whispers, "What if this is all an illusion?" This is the moment the system fears, because when you start to really think, the control disappears, and what arises in its place is consciousness, the pure energy of the Creator that exists within you. Hill said that thinking is the greatest act of rebellion, because every authentic thought destroys an invisible prison. Every new idea opens a crack in the structure of control. And that's why the system doesn't fear your prayers. He fears his thoughts. Hill saw thought as the first stage of matter, an invisible field where everything is created before it is seen. And the secret was to master this process. Think with purpose. For the gold of the mind must pass through the fire of doubt before it becomes wisdom. And the fire in this case is suffering, the same fire that shapes warriors, artists, and visionaries. Pain is the furnace of consciousness. It burns away the superfluous until it reveals the essential. The irony is that the more a man seeks power, the more he becomes a slave to what he fears losing. True power is not in possessing, but in not to depend. Hill realized this too late. He saw empires fail, millionaires go mad, and geniuses go astray. That is why he wrote in one of his last manuscripts, "The man who conquers the world but loses his mind was never free. He merely changed prisons." The mind, therefore, is the ultimate battlefield, and you only win when you become the commander of your own inner army, the one formed by thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. The moral is simple but brutal. He who does not govern his own mind will be governed by one who knows how it works. Success, then, is not an achievement. It's a liberation. It is not the accumulation of wealth, but self-control. As long as you live reacting, you are trapped. But once you start creating, you will be free. Hill didn't preach material wealth, he preached self-mastery. Because a man who masters his own thoughts, you can lose everything and still start over. But he who does not master it loses even what he does not have. Before he died, Hill left a warning. One day man will discover that the real hell is not fire, but uncontrolled thought. He believed that the future of humanity would depend on one simple detail, whether we would learn to think for ourselves or continue to be thought of by others. And that day has come. We live in an age of distractions, manufactured opinions, and emotional algorithms. We have never been so connected and at the same time so disconnected from ourselves. But there is an advantage. Who can, thinking amidst the noise, becomes invisible to the system, because the system doesn't know what to do with an awakened human being. Now look around. Nothing changes outside until something changes inside. The world isn't punishing you, it's mirroring you. It just returns what you vibrate. The question is, what have you been issuing? Fear or faith? Complaint or creation? Scarcity or purpose? Hill said that the universe doesn't distinguish between positive or negative. It just responds to the strongest vibration. And the strongest vibration will always be the one you feed every day. You are therefore the cause and the effect, the creator and the creature, the question and the answer. And perhaps that is why Hill wrote, with bitterness and lucidity, "The devil does not fear your prayers, he fears your thoughts." Because thoughts are prayers in motion. They are invisible currents that shape destiny, move the invisible, and construct what we call reality. And when you start thinking consciously, the game ends and the board disappears. You are no longer a piece. You become the player. If this opens your mind, sign up, because what comes next could change your reality forever. In the next video, we'll reveal Hill's lost manuscript, the one many say was destroyed, but which holds the ultimate secret, how to transform thought into absolute power. Don't close your eyes. The truth is not in what they told you, it's in what you dare to think.